According to my watch, we are at 12 o'clock, so we will call the meeting to order. Welcome to the MACC Policy Board meeting in Zeeland Charter Township. Before we do the roll call, we do have a number of new faces at the table today. We'd like to welcome Luke DeVries from Port Sheldon. We have Gretchen Cosby from County Commission. And Heather, have you been at one of our policy board meetings before?
I was at the one in November.
Okay, good. Well, welcome again.
My date.
And why don't we start with introductions? Why don't we start with Alec over here?
Alec Miller, Transportation Planner for the MACC.
Mandy Cooper, Lakeshore Advantage.
Kirkland Couvrin, Ottawa County Road Commission. Jonathan Hexel, Allegan County Road Commission.
Allie Nice, Ottawa Township.
Luke DeVries, Port Sheldon Township.
Tom Monk, Zeeland Township.
Jim Story, Allegan County.
Terry Nienhuis, Holland Township.
Jason Latham with the MACC.
Tom Bird, at-large member.
Jacob Arnold, County Commissioner.
Skip Keeter, Park Township.
Kevin Kleinstra, City of Zeeland, and I like your sweatshirt, Luke.
Tyler could have that.
Heather Bowden, and that in statewide planning out of Lansing.
Ken DeWeer, Belmore Township.
Gretchen Cosby, County Commissioner, District 1.
Judy Fisher, the MACC.
Fairfax, MACC.
Okay. We'd like for consideration of the approval of the minutes that have been provided.
So move.
Support. All those in favor of the approval, respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Public comments, if there are any members, we didn't get, did we get?
Yeah.
Oh, we did, okay.
We have form.
Good. Any public comments from any of the members of the public? And we'll turn the program over to Jason.
All right, well, welcome everyone, thank you. Alec is going to be center stage here for a little bit on the transportation side, so why don't you start off with the TIP amendment?
Sounds good. Thank you everyone for coming. I hope it's been a long time, so hopefully we all had a good holiday season.
Go Lions.
I'm a Packer fan, so go Lions, yeah. We have one amendment, fiscal year 23-26 TIP. This is job number 214789, Allegan County, Blue Star Highway resurfacing. It's extending the project limits to go from 700 feet south of 101st Avenue to 143rd Avenue. No change in cost. Real simple, cut and dry. Craig talked about it a bunch at TAC, and it was just that. So if there are no comments or questions on it, I guess if I could motion for that, please.
Belmore Township, it's in our area. I'll make the motion.
Second. All right, we got
Who was first?
Ken.
Ken and John.
John. All right, so all in favor of the motion as presented, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Okay, and opposed, same sign? Okay, motion carries. Thank you so much. Next up, you're going to talk about the extra funding. That's always nice to hear.
So back in November, the MACC received its updated revenue estimates for TIP development, and there was more funding than expected, which is always good. The funding was for fiscal year 2024 only. So 23 projects are already obligated, so those can no longer receive any further funding. The funding came in three categories: SDP Flex, SDP Urban, and then carbon reduction. And as you can go back, you can see the total amount came out to $116,399. So a nice little surprise pocket change to find. So these were the options that we had for 2024 jobs. The ones in red are not eligible for funding. So the top one and the bottom one, those are already obligated. And then the Ottawa County job, this one is in the federal aid buyout program. So that one can't receive any more funding because that one's already set in stone. And at the TAC meeting, Craig Atwood from Allegan County, he said that his job was already taken care of and he didn't need the funding. If you look on here, it says the funding percentage is only 21%, which is pretty low, but he said that they actually have a bunch of CMAQ money, rural CMAQ, that wasn't listed in there, so he was good with all the funding on it. So that only left Holland, and we all agreed to give the $116,000 to the city of Holland for its Columbia Avenue job. And that's this one right here. It's two phases, or it's in two separate line items because they come from different funding sources, but it's the same job number, so everything is the same on that. One's just for engineering and the construction for the funding. I think that's everything I have to add about that, so if no one's confused on my rambling there or no questions, get a motion for that one.
I make a motion to allocate the $116,399 of extra funding to 215242. Support.
All right, so a motion and support. Any further discussion on that? I know it's there's a lot there, but any further discussion? Okay, no discussion. Then all in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Thank you, Alec.
Oh, good.
All right, next item.
Next, we have our long-range transportation plan open house. We had this last Wednesday. We had a whopping 30 people. It was a party. It was so good. We've been killing it with these public open meetings, so that was really nice to see all the people for that. There was a good mix of all the, you don't want all the 30 to be just people we work with. You want a good mix of public in there. So it was half and half. It was good that some people just organically found it on their own and came in. Lots of comments, questions. There was someone there the entire 2 to 4, or 12 to 2, and then 4 to 6. There was someone there the whole time. So it's good. Here's a few pictures of it. That's the entranceway. And we got to give away some more Green Commute t-shirts too, so that was nice. Then all our maps on there. Yep. We had an interactive whiteboard to try to get people to get some more information down on there, and all the maps on there. We had cookies and coffee, all that good stuff. So that's it for that update. And now for the Safe Streets for All update. As it says on there, our kickoff meeting got delayed. And then delayed, and then delayed, and then it got delayed again, and again, and again. It's now scheduled for January 30th. It's funny because when we first did this, we wanted this to go really fast. We kind of knew how long it would take, and GVMC did it the year before us. So we kind of had goals to say, okay, we're going to beat them. We're going to go quick. And it's working with the federal government. That's a whole different animal than working with our great MDOT people. So it's taking a little bit longer to work with the federal government, but like I said, January 30th, 9 a.m., that'll be a big meeting for us. It's just a one-on-one with them, so we're going to learn lots of information. And then after that, we're going to send out some emails to create a committee for that. We're thinking most of those, we're going to send it to policy and TAC for that, so anybody who's interested. Those meetings are probably going to be just after the TAC meeting, because that'll be the easiest. So if anybody's interested in that, keep an eye out for that email.
Alec, I just want to comment, having this grant, for example, is a wonderful contribution to our community. So nice job getting that rolling.
Thank you.
And 30 people at the long range open house isn't bad for the transportation plan.
I think when it was just Jason and I, and we had the tip, when 2 months after we started, we got 4 people total. And that was, I think one was Tyler and his intern, and then and then one member of the public just accidentally came in and didn't know what was going on. So, but yeah, so 30 was a big improvement for us. So we were really happy with those numbers.
It is, and I know the amount of work that goes into the preparation of the materials. So I know I have seen a lot of people that are aware of the long-range transportation plan effort. So the word's getting out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just questioning, you had 30 people show up in comments. Did you see any trending in comments, or?
A lot of the comments were really focused on non-motorized path, which is what we expected in this area with how expansive our network is. Most of it is just, that's the heavy hitting part for most people is new projects, where are the new projects going to be, and then where are the new non-motorized projects. So just about those two. But there was some good feedback overall.
Yeah, it's nice. So I have to, thank my staff, commend my staff, because, Alec did a great job getting the word out. we had Facebook, we had a post, there's a few Holland groups that you were on. So the word is out. So people are, I think we've been talking about name recognition and making sure that people understand that we're here. We do transportation planning. We do spend time making sure that we interact with our members, and trying to get that public feedback is really important. So thank you guys for that. That was
Yeah,
really
I
cool.
noticed we got a big uptick in our online traffic when Mayor Box, when you shared our post. So you used
Yes, thank you for
you
sharing.
used some of your clout for us. So thanks for that.
Happy to do it.
I believe that's all I have. So next is for, unless anyone has anything else for me, then pass it over to MDOT.
All right.
I'd give it a start. The update I wanted to provide it last month, but I was unable to do because I had a flat tire, so I couldn't make it here, was that our State Transportation Commission did approve our 5-year program back in November of last year, so that's probably old news, but at least that's out there for public consumption. The other one that I have is that, as we start approaching construction season, maybe hopefully in the next couple of months, unless winter decides to keep sticking around, will be the I-196 Business Loop project from kind of the south side of Zeeland to about US 31. So that'll be kicking up, and we'll be providing some more information on that as we move forward. That's all I have, unless you got
Okay.
anything.
I'm writing down notes real quickly. I think I might have mentioned this at the one before, so I apologize if these are repeats, but the fiscal year 25 federal aid buyout program will not be continuing. There were some issues with providing state match for the trunk line system. So the funds that were normally used to forward that program they're just not here. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to put that program on hold for FY25 and revisit for the following fiscal years. I'll keep everybody updated as I hear more. I don't know if you've mentioned the greenhouse gas safety targets yet.
No, not yet. But
Okay.
yes, please do.
Well, there was some new federal requirements that had just recently come out saying that MDOT has to develop some greenhouse gas safety targets, much like the safety targets that we pass every year around this time, actually. And we are working, there's a committee working internally at MDOT and trying to figure out how that measurement will be. And then it'll be a little bit different from my understanding from our past safety targets, where you guys have the option to just, adhere and adopt the same measures that we do, that we at MDOT do. I think you will have to say that you are developing your own, and these are them. But that's not to say you can just use the same measures that we do.
Right.
So we're still working through all of that. It's still very, very new. We at MDOT have to have them to the feds and approved by the end of February. And then after we get those approved from the feds, you guys will have 180 days to, get you're up and running. And then, yes, thank you for getting the FY24 allocations figured out. Just a reminder that 25 and 26 probably need to be done too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There, I've done my job. I was supposed to remind everyone to please work on those, so.
Right. Well, good. Just to add to the greenhouse gas emission discussion, so there is a lot there, and MDOT has to put together quite a bit of information and then have that turned in by the end of the month to the feds. So what I anticipate will happen is we'll run all this by the technical committee next month to say, here's what MDOT developed. And the good news is MDOT did ask for feedback, so I was on a couple quick meetings over the holiday break, because that's all we had time for to really put it together. But the data, it's vehicle miles traveled, it's the statewide model, there's a lot of information, and then the feds are really good at kind of couching things in two different ways, so it's hard to figure out what data to use. So MDOT's trying to get clarification, And they should have that by this week, because it's due next week. And wherever we land, the good news is for not meeting your greenhouse gas emissions projections, there's no penalties. So I feel like this first round, since the first time the feds have gone after it, that we're going to be working, trying to figure out exactly what they meant by these standards and the performance measures that we have to develop. But considering our staff is pretty small, I doubt we're going to try to develop our own. I think we're going to adopt MDOT standards. But again, this will be a discussion that we'll have with the technical committee, hopefully next month. Put it all together, and then we'll present it to you guys, so you have a good understanding, can ask a lot of questions, and then certainly we'll be asking for approval, because we'll need to send that to MDOT to be in compliance. So yeah, so thanks for letting everybody know.
Jason?
Yes.
Excuse me. One other item relative to MDOT. And as most of the members are aware, annually we have to adopt safety goals for traffic fatalities. And we can either do that ourselves or adopt MDOT's goals as ours, which we typically do. Just to see where we fit in relative to the whole country, I just read last night some statistics on the ranking of states for vehicle fatalities per billion miles driven in urban and rural settings. And Michigan falls right about the middle of the pack. I think we're ranked 29 out of 51 states. And interestingly, the states with the highest incidence of fatalities per billion miles, Florida is ranked number 1, and a number of southern states, South Carolina and Louisiana and Texas, all fit into that. I would have thought northern states with the problems with icy winter conditions would have fared far worse than that. So just to give you an idea of where we sit relative to other areas of the country, we're right about the middle of the pack.
Well, that's good. Thanks for that feedback. I like it. All right, we don't have Federal Highway here, so no Federal Highway comments, but I'm looking forward to meeting with them on our kickoff for the Safe Streets for All. I feel like we have a really good rep at Federal Highway. She's been really quick, responsive when we've had questions. I think she was a little bit frustrated too with our meeting that kept getting canceled and postponed. But she's dealing with headquarters and the DC folks, so trying to get that meeting on the books was difficult. But like I said, she's a really good rep. We have a good relationship with her, so I'm looking forward to that Safe Streets for All kickoff meeting, and then create our committee here so we can start working together and get that rolling. All right, so next on the administrative side of things, our financial report, we're right in line with where we should be as far as year-to-date expenditures. Good news is we got our audit. Chris and I were able to review the draft audit, so everything is done, and we're going to get our audit folks in here next month to give you the highlights and let you know that things are looking good. So looking forward to that. The next thing to talk about would be the executive committee. I'm going to start with the big colorful strategic plan. This is draft, but those of us on the executive committee, we've been talking about this the last two meetings. So what I was trying to do is get something that in one page could kind of help with direction for myself and my team. And I think it's really important to, here we can pass that around, make sure everybody gets a chance to see it, just to have that mission, the vision, our values all in one place. So as things come up, we're always grounded. We know where we stand. We know what we're all about. Plus, I think it's going to help to share with the public. So as we have more public meetings, they can kind of say, oh, okay, the MACC, it's a council of governments. They do transportation planning. This is how they operate. This is what's in their, in their lane. So anybody has any comments, we're certainly happy to gather those. And at our next executive committee, I'm going to try to get it to near final and see where we go from there. But some of the background information, one of the things we talked about, we were going to put on the back of it, maybe not for public consumption, but some of the strengths and weaknesses, some of the things that are a little bit more internal for us to be working on. There will be a backside of that for as an internal document to really help keep us in alignment. But this has been really helpful for me, just because it really is that foundation of why are we here? What are we doing? And I think the more that we get out to the public and help explain that, the better off we are. And I was just telling staff that last night I was over at my in-laws' house, and my mother-in-law said, so what is it you do? And I'm pretty sure I've told her more than once, but she's like, well, yeah, anyway, like halfway through it, she's like, okay, it's transportation, yeah, I know you do that. She's like, well, Mr. So-and-so, we saw him at breakfast, and he asked about you. So that was the whole point of that story.
Did you pull this out?
No, I didn't. I didn't have it with me. I'm going to send it to her.
She probably asking your wife, and she said, I don't know.
My wife was calling because she was taking all the Christmas stuff down and wondering where I was. And I was like, I'm not just going to stop at your parents' house and not come in and sit down for a while. So I was in trouble for not helping take Christmas down.
Yeah, this is also probably version 4,632. There have been times when I have Jason come to my computer. He's like, that's awesome. We print it, and then by the time I make it and it comes out of the printer, he wants to change something. So then I have to go back. So if everybody just says they love it right now, great.
So Alec is so nice. He is so nice. Everything I say is, so this is a draft. And then I tell him all the things I want to change. So I probably shouldn't make too many more changes, or I should just get them all into one last time, and that's it. But no, he's an expert at Canva, so we're lucky to have him and Eric and Judy. We're getting a lot done. All right, so that was a big long discussion. Like I said, one of the real big takeaways from me and doing this in our discussions at the exec committee were, really outreach and name recognition. That's kind of frontline for what I feel like the MACC should be doing this next year for sure, before we get into a lot of other things. But building on that is important. Let's see. Yeah, so growth, that was one other thing I thought we had a discussion of, growing the MACC. What does that mean? We have, our population is growing. There's travel demand. We can look at that. There's more traffic on the road, and really there's a lot of different ways to look at it. So that was another really good discussion that we had at the executive committee, because we could grow our boundaries, and if we were going to grow our boundaries, what would that look like? We can that'd be growth in membership, but then also we could grow some of the some of our plans and other deliverables. So like what else is it that we're doing at the MACC? So more to come on that. Right now we're just working on kind of that vision piece, but I can tell you we're having good discussions at exec. Anybody from exec want to jump in, or did I summarize it well enough?
You did well.
Thank you. So then the last piece was the employee handbook. So we're going to be looking into that. I did get some feedback from some folks. I saw Steve at the long range plan, so he's going to share some information, and Mandy shared some information already. So we're just kind of looking at some of the PTO and a few other little things in the handbook. So I'll be bringing that back to make some changes there. But
our handbook also has a line in there that says no bell bottoms. And it hasn't been updated for a while.
Judy said we had to leave that in there.
Yeah, it's coming back.
I mean, I think bell bottoms are back.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
did a full cycle of them coming back, so this is no bell bottoms.
So I don't yet, but I will. So the other comment right now is the CEP, so our community enhancement program. We met last week, so things are going really well. Very excited about it. And Judy and I are putting together a summary report. We weren't going to quite have it ready for this meeting,
I
but
think March, I'll get all the final reports from last year's awarded projects and then get that into a report, but then just this, like an executive summary you can look at. I think
Yeah.
that maybe with some pictures.
because we do get feedback this time of year, and we're still waiting for some of the feedback comment cards for the folks that received funding. So I think we thought we'd get it all together before we did a kind of a partial update. But yes, there'll be a CEP update next meeting as well. So with that said, that's the last piece that I had. Unless anybody has any questions, then we can kind of go around and do member comments. No?
Start with Tom Monk, maybe, perhaps?
Want to start? Yeah, you're the host.
Okay, we can do that. Well, thanks for finding your way next door. We're, after 30 years, we decided that facility needed new carpeting and different wall coverings and so forth. So we're in the midst of that. Our lower level where we normally meet is mostly finished, but we don't have any chairs. So I didn't think you'd want to stand for the entire meeting, so we came over here. Just a couple of things, what's going on. I broke it out into 3 groups. Housing, what's going on in Zeeland Township. Couple of things, Bluff Lakes is expanding, their 5th expansion, there's 26 homes. That will complete that development. Riesland Crossings is just down the road, it's a 22-unit condo development. That is, there's a couple of them up now, but that's in the phase of that. Prairie Winds is right across the street, that will be 325 units of single-family townhouses and condos. That should get started in the spring. And then Perry Acres is a small development down on Perry and 92nd. It's a little bit unsure exactly what's going to happen with that yet, but that's what's going on with housing in Zeeland Township. Commercial industrial, you saw the steel going up here next to the hotel. That's a Holland Hospital Shoreline Orthopedic Facility. I think that's supposed to be finished in the fall. Autumn Hills Renewable Gas Project is going to be going up near Zeeland Farm Services. Zeeland Farm Services currently uses the methane from the landfill to do power a lot of their things. This company will actually take that raw methane and clean it, and then it will actually be put into Semco's gas line, so it can be used in a lot of other ways. The methane right out of the landfill is really dirty and it's really hard to use. So you'll be seeing that going up next spring. RM Trucking is relocated from Allendale. It's a fairly mid-sized kind of over-the-road trucking company. They built a new facility on Riley Street, and they've just moved into there recently. There's also, next door to them, there's a West Michigan RV storage that is in process. Knight Transfer, which is on 88th Avenue, is going to be doing some expansion to their facility to take in commercial waste and recycle it. So that's what's going on with those guys. And then Gentex, if you are any that part of that mile by half mile where I live, they continue to grow. They're putting up they're just finishing up a new production facility, and they're also expanding their distribution facility on that site. And then there's also the daycare preschool facility going up there. So they continue to grow. Recreation. We're working on a new bike path. We've been working on it for quite a while now. It will connect Byron Road to Adams Street, down along 76th, and then jog over and down 74th past Adams Elementary. It's been quite a process. There's a lot of wetland area and we need a lot of easements, but we're through that process. We'll be doing the final design work and then working with Eagle to try to get that permitted. So might get finished late next year, but might be one more year. We did just complete some parking and lighting improvements on our Van Zuren Woods property on 56th. We've got a bid out right now to put in 2 boardwalk bridges, if you will, across 2 of the ravines to connect all the paths in there. So we should be awarding that at our February 6th board meeting. And that's kind of what's going on here. Any questions, see me afterward or ask them now.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
That's good.
busy.
Actually, I do have a question for you, Tom.
Sure.
Some time ago, the PFAS foam for firefighting was eliminated, and it's been replaced with a newer foam. Does that poster on the wall refer to the newer type foam that the county commissioners acquired for the county?
I don't know, Jake, you were involved with that. It's probably the old foam, I
I
don't know.
think that's the old foam because actually, I've never seen that poster before.
Yeah,
This was actually my first chance to get a tour. Tom gave me a tour of the entire department today. And yeah, that's interesting. I'm going to check into that.
yeah, basically it says no training with it. I think we had some on hand, I think,
Right.
just for emergencies, but I think
Right.
we've gotten rid of it all
Limited
now.
use. I think they were like 5-gallon cans, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. But the new stuff hasn't arrived yet.
Right,
So
and that
it's still
won't
in route.
be here, so it will be somewhere else.
No, that's good. All right, well, should we go to your left?
Absolutely. City of Holland, City Council just finished up our strategic planning for the upcoming budget year. We had our council retreat on Saturday and then sending our priorities to city manager and his staff to formulate the budget and our strategic plan for the year. Our theme for this year in Holland is Let's Deliver. We've made a lot of promises, we've made a lot of commitments, we've got a lot of projects in the hopper. We want to make sure that we bring those through to fruition. Holland City Fiber, they've broken ground on that over near the Collin Park area, and they will be hitting the different parts of the city in what we refer to as our fiber hoods. I said to Dave Coster over at the BPW that I'm a little frustrated that he made the mayor a liar. They lowered the cost of the fiber and doubled the speed of it, of what we initially thought when we passed the millage. And even though we passed the millage about 1.5 years ago, we haven't levied it yet. We've been trying to hold off and wait to as close as we possibly can to when the first of the fiber hoods goes live. And what we're looking at is 2 gigabit up and down, $45 a month, no setup cost. So there's no initial cost, you just sign right up. You can go all the way up to 10 gigabits and that cost is going to be about $100 a month. And again, that's synchronous back and forth. Skating rink, we're looking to have that come in front of council in February or March. We talk about it like it's a foregone conclusion. It's not officially yet because we don't have a bid in front of us that we've approved, but pretty sure that's going to happen with groundbreaking in the spring. I'm pushing for skating this time next year. Our assistant city manager keeps shaking his head every time I say that. I'm going to keep pushing. Fire station on Waverly Road and 32nd Street is going really well. It's a brand new station. When that's done in the spring, early summer, we'll have the crew from the Collin Park station move into the old station on Waverly while we redo the Collin Park station, and then the old station on Waverly will go down. Just doing preliminary design work and visits for a rec center that's going to be going in on 16th and Fairbanks, right by Bouse Pool. The impetus of that was a $4.5 million estate gift from the Heeringa family, and the only stipulation was that all of the money was to be used for one project. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the fact that there's a company called LG Energy Solutions, I think is what it's called, just starting to do phase 3, which is looking to be about a $3 billion project. We've seen really preliminary stuff. There's nothing official that's come before council yet with that. The big gray ball full of you-know-what downtown, our anaerobic digester, is up and running, but it takes a while for it to get to full capacity. But that continues to go well. And then we're looking at seeing Waterfront Holland come before council again in another iteration, probably in the spring to early summertime. So as I said, we've got a lot of things going on. We want to make sure that we deliver on all of those for the people of the city of Holland. So that's all I have.
Thank you, thank you. All right, Luke, anything going on?
Oh, I get to talk.
Yeah, if you want.
Welcome. Yeah. What we're working on in Port Sheldon right now is trying to finalize short-term rental agreements so we can get some guidelines in place. So if we do have issues in the future, we can fall back upon the rules that we have stated. We've been working on that for about 1.5 years. It's liked by some and hated by others.
Right.
So, but we're doing a lot of work with that. We expect that to be done hopefully in the next couple of weeks, or a couple of months, I'm sorry. And I don't know really what's going on with the power plant stuff. I mean, they're still working on that. They gave us a bunch of stuff that they're doing, but that's pretty much about it.
All right, that sounds good. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Alan, how about you?
I wonder if anybody had, or has, any experience with the ARPA funds. We have to have those allocated by the end of this year and then used, or the project has to be completed by the end of 2026. And I'm looking for some input from others that maybe are ahead of us. And I could certainly use some advice on that.
Give Keith Van Beek a call, or Lynn McCammon at City Hall, because we actually did a vote where we moved our ARPA funds over for one project. We did kind of a shell game with them to make sure that they were not clawed back.
It sounds deceptive.
It's, we were assured that it was 100% legal and above board. So we've allocated them. Keith Van Beek, our city manager.
Van Beek?
Yes.
The county did the same thing,
Yeah.
so it's above board.
The other thing is check with MTA, the Township Association,
Yeah.
because depending on how much you got, it changed a lot, it got rid of a lot of the rules on reporting and deadlines and things like that. So unless you have more than 10 million, you'll probably fall under the MTA,
We're close to that number.
The
yeah.
reporting requirements are extensive.
Yeah, that's what I understand.
Well, a lot of them went away if you were under 10.
Right.
Okay.
But we
Thank
did
you
have
both.
some money come back because those that were allocated those funds weren't able to follow through on the reporting.
Okay.
So,
Okay. And then I want to tip my hat, I guess, to the clerks that we have in Ottawa County, the township clerks. I personally feel sad that we got to have 10 days to vote. I think that's absurd. The amount of money, additional funds that are being spent, taxpayers' money, we should be ashamed. We really should. We can't get it done in one day or two. They make 10, even open on Sundays. Disappointing, very disappointing. And I tip my hat to the clerks because they came together and said, can we find 3 or 4 locations, which I'm sure you're all aware of, where we can vote and get these 10 days covered. And I think it's very efficient, saved us some money. And I want to get on record of saying that. So if I have a drone go over my home tonight, so be it. I'll deal with that as it goes.
Big thank you to Justin Rollbach too for getting that all together. So he was very instrumental in that. So, fine job like he always does.
And then the last thing, we have an opening for some office help. And the big benefit of that is that whoever that is gets to work with me. It would be a part-time position, 2 days a week, if you know of anybody. Thank you. That's all I have.
From the Allegan County Road Commission, of course, it's been a busy time with all the snow, but it's going well, so spring's on the way. We're working on our millage renewal. I think we'll be having it on the August ballot now. So we have to get that approved by the county commission and then get everything set. Another thing we're looking at is, as a road commission, we get money to repair and maintain roads. We don't get any money to improve roads. And what we're wondering, I guess, throw out to the MACC is, one of the roads we've looked at is 48th Avenue, which serves as the dividing line between Jamestown and Zeeland Township. Georgetown and Glendon Township. It's also on the dividing line between the MACC and the Metro Council. And what we can do to get safety grants, because it's kind of it's in the middle of nowheres. But yet we've had, like at 48 and Byron Road, which is sometime in the future, would we want to put a roundabout there? Because people aren't stopping for that intersection. We've had a few fatalities. We also have issues on 48th Avenue around the Unity Christian High School, and having to put in some turn lanes, maybe a center lane and stuff like that. And how do we get funding for something like that? You know, it does. Tom's budget may not coincide with Jamestown's budget, and how do we get together and that we can improve the road? So I guess that's a question for you and your staff.
Yeah. And the good news is that Safe Streets for All looks at safety improvements, and Brett will be on our committee, and I can see that being perfectly good, eligible project. And once it gets into our safety action plan, then it becomes eligible for future grant money, and we can help with that. So that's good that you brought that up, and make sure it gets on there.
I just, if I could question you, Kurt, you do have CMAC money available that could be used for some safety improvements?
I don't know how much we have available, but it's just looking at a project of that is going to be significant in size. That would, just having CMAC may not be enough.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
if we can get some safety grants and other things to pull together, we can possibly make a project. But from, you know, we're not going to get enough extra money for CMAC to make some of that possible.
Lakeshore Advantage hit the start of the year running. Our team is busy, and we're doing some hiring, which is great. One thing I don't think I've shared with this group is we are in the process of forming a 501c3 arm for Lakeshore Advantage. So if you look at our peer EDOs across the state, about half of them are organized like a 501c6, which is what Lakeshore Advantage was founded as. That's like a business association, a chamber of commerce, that sort of thing. The benefit of having the other half, let me finish that first thought. The other half of economic development organizations like us are either organized as a 501c3 or have a 501c3 arm. And the benefit is that allows for charitable contributions. And more we're seeing even our private sector partners either giving through foundations that they really need to be able to give to a 501c3, or to equip individuals who want to make a contribution that's tax deductible. So excited for the support we've gotten from some of our local unit partners on that. Hoping to have that done here in the next month or so. The second thing I wanted to flag, we have our annual meeting coming up on February 1st. I know a lot of you here are actually already planning to attend, but if you'd like to attend and you're not registered, go to our website. We'll be doing an update on kind of what happened over the past year, talk about some of those big projects, as well as give a look at what we're planning for the year ahead. One of those big things is a move into the next center. That's the Innovation Center Business Incubator Space that is going up in downtown Holland at 7th and College. The steel is going up, which is pretty exciting. So that project is coming along well, too. So that's what I have.
Very good. It is nice to see such a full room. Oh my goodness. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Elisa Hookwater. I'm the director of MACC Transit. And 2024 is turning out to be a really exciting year. I know I've reported, and I recognize about half of the faces in the room, but in the past, I've been here to represent MACC and tell you about some of the grants we've been applying for, and several of those of you sitting around the table have written letters of support. I tallied it up, and we have been awarded over $3.3 million in competitive money. So that's basically in the last few years recognizing the need to make a difference. We've pursued those funds. And one of those projects that those competitive grants is going towards is a regional transit study. So I'm excited because we have our second workshop this Thursday. You're all invited. We do have an open house at GRCC, which is, if you choose to take the bus, there's a stop there. But what's really exciting is that we were able to hire a consultant to come in and look at all of our services, our fixed routes, our demand response, and then other possible options for the future. And by looking at our routes, they were able to recommend that we take our 8 existing fixed routes and consolidate them to 6. During the pandemic, we did have to cut back some of our services, but what that would enable us to do is instead of passengers having to wait 60 minutes, they could catch a bus every 30 minutes. The other thing that I find really exciting is that a large part of this is improving efficiency, so it doesn't require additional money. It's using our very same budget that we've been working with, which is huge for us. So there's a lot involved in this, so I'm not going to go through all the details, but I can share a one-page summary which will show you what is being proposed. And the other thing I wanted to mention to you is that microtransit is a concept that if you haven't heard about it, I encourage you to take a look. It's basically an additional service that we'll be adding to our fleet, so buying passenger vans, and that will supplement. It won't be a separate service that competes, but it'll be an same day, on-demand service. So we're pretty excited about that. So there are 3 different zones that are being proposed. Yeah, and this is exciting for me. As those of you who know me know, I'm a planner and I love looking forward. And I know I've talked to many of you about ways we can serve the region a little bit better. So this is pretty exciting to see it finally coming through. So, yeah, and then last thing I wanted to tell you, one of the other things that we applied for was a new scheduling software, because we, I recognize Heather's response. So we were one of the first in the state to have a program called Route Match, and they decided to stop updating the software at all. So no tech support. They fired all their people on the team, and so we were left stranded. We and many other Michigan Transit. So we asked MDOT, help us. What do we do here? So we applied for some additional funds. And tomorrow we're going to meet with our new provider. It's going to be VIA. So VIA is...
No, I didn't.
VIA has wonderful customer service. It's really lots of bells and whistles. Wonderful, just very, very responsive team. And Muskegon is using VIA. What's a little different about their system is that VIA also provides the drivers. We have our internal team, but we are so excited. So between that and our transit study, transit's going to be incredibly different in the next 6 to 18 months. So it's a lot to be excited about, but I encourage you all to come Thursday if you can. And I'll send you a one-pager so that you can see what we're doing.
So we plan on being there, so thank you. Keep up the good work. That's great. It is exciting.
Thanks, Jason. Well, I didn't come with a formal report, but in lieu of some of the conversations that we've had here, I agree, Al, voting should be easier, and it is unfortunate that we have to vote for 9 solid days. And as I wrote, Skip, I think you as well, my townships, I said, it's not the people, it's the process that we're given. And so they did, I think our clerks did gather together and really create a plan that it helps meet the staffing needs and make it easier. And I'm hoping for a good communication plan, because it's a change for a lot of our citizens. Then to talk about housing, we've been meeting with Habitat for Humanity, the Lakeshore, and Jubilee Homes, and we're collaborating with our ARPA dollars as well that's remaining. We've got $2.7 million left. They have a $400,000 gap for a couple of the projects they have currently. I think Holland City, actually, and maybe Holland Township, Charter Township as well. We are looking at a couple of just expansions into neighborhoods, approximately 35 homes in one, and I'm trying to remember the other. But watch the news. Hopefully this one will be reported on. approximately 45 homes, because we do think home ownership is really important, especially that first home, being able to get into it. Let's see, broadband, we did approve broadband, and that project's moving forward. We have been able to figure out a way to generate a little revenue for the county as well. So for 123Net to have access to broadband for our community, we're also asking for a little bit back. And let's see. Oh, and I had one more thing. Collaboration. Oh, and then also I think we are collaborating with Holland City too with the recycling plant that's going on at the waterfront as well. So looking forward to that. And I'm open to any questions. I actually know quite a bit about elections, so, because that was what I ran on. So thank you very much for the invitation, and I'm happy to be a member.
Thanks. All right, Ken.
Fillmore Township, first of all, thank you for this allocation of funds today for the Blue Star Highway, 1 mile plus. It's be a real safety addition to our roadway, our major north-south 58th Street Blue Star Highway. Lots that mile is there's many small businesses there with a lot of left-hand turns, right-hand turns. So that extra center line will be a real addition. Our planning commission has been meeting regularly, updating our land use plan as a 5-year mandatory thing. We are going to hold our last public meeting in February to finalize that land use plan, five-year land use plan for that. Unlike Ottawa County, I'm very disappointed in Allegan County's clerk that they did not have central locations for early voting. Consequently, each municipality, township, or city is basically going at it on their own. A major expense for our townships for the 9 days of extra voting. And like Al said, Saturday and Sunday included. I think we're all set with that, but we're very disappointed, and we are going to ask that the Allegan County clerk look at doing something very similar to Ottawa County in the August and November elections. Other than that, Fillmore Township is 85% zone agriculture. That land is sleeping right now, but waiting to get ready for spring like everybody else. That's all.
Thanks, Ken. Not anymore?
I actually thought of one more. It is closing at 12 o'clock midnight today, but we do have a position open in statewide planning for a transportation planner. If anyone knows of anyone that would like to apply.
Not around here.
I did have my friend apply to that.
Oh, good, thank you. All right, we'll talk.
Nothing more for me, thank you.
Zealand, things are going well, or we've got goal-setting sessions tonight and tomorrow night for the new year, and our new snow melt that we put in this summer, at least the first half of it, for next half is next year, is working well. We did find out that it shut off at 10 degrees for some reason, so the other day when it was the coldest day of the year, it wasn't working well, but I think we got the kinks worked out. Some big projects going on in our downtown, so if you ride through, you'll see those going. And other than that, like I said, things are going well. I do have one thing to ask maybe the executive committee to look at. This morning I had a meeting with a nonprofit in our city on the hill, Doors of Hope, and they said, how do we get our word out? I know when Nathan, with Tim Berkman was our director, we were doing, some nonprofits come in and tell us what they did in the county. And they supply, they try to find housing for people that are unemployed or underemployed or homeless. So I thought it might be a good thing for some places for us to hear about, seeing we represent all the municipalities in the area. Because I'm sure people get questions from people, where do we go for that? So anyway, maybe the executive committee could look at that maybe we could start doing that a little bit again, and places that aren't asking for money but just want to give the information out. So there you go.
Great.
As the only clerk in the room, I'll just thank Al for his comments. Unfortunately, the folks who drafted Proposition 22-2 never conferred with the people who actually have to do the work. So we now have a lot of East Coast and West Coast enhancements built into our voting process that are extremely difficult to do. Justin Roebuck is absolutely one of my heroes because of what he's done in Park Township to help us get through the early voting as easily as we are. So that's a good thing. We continue to work on the gift that the voters gave us, the old Park Township Airport, now Park Township Community Park. At our last board meeting, we okayed going ahead with creating a short grass prairie on the property. We're going to go ahead and just make it prairie, and then when we have to carve out for future enhancements, we'll still have a beautiful, beautiful site. We okayed at our last board meeting 2 new housing developments. One's a small site condo development on the north side. The other a larger condo development on the south side. The nice thing about both of them is they are infill projects. We're not expanding into agricultural land. They are strictly infill, and I still think we have room within Park Township to grow our housing stock without having to contribute to urban sprawl. So that goes on. And finally, we have a committee working on our new community center to replace the one that burned down. And we're looking forward to expanding that committee to get us more citizen input. So we're going to be more reflective of what our citizens want. Thank you.
Well, from a solid work perspective, we're in the middle of the budget season. From a fun perspective, we announced last week that we were able to grow our beach park by a few more acres. We're always looking for more access to the water. We have one particular property owner that the treasurer loves because it's one of our largest taxpayers, but they have over a mile of frontage, and so we've got a whole lot of people that don't really have access to the lake. So when we have the opportunity to negotiate a deal with the property owner that generates a little bit more room at the beach, we're very happy about that. Other than that, it's been fairly quiet. Planning Commission, like Skip said, Planning Commission's gearing up for another busy season, and we have the same push to keep the housing in the housing zones and the ag in the ag zones. It's getting tougher. It's getting tougher. But right now, we had great holidays, great turnout at Winterfest at the mansion. So, and I want to give Craig a call out at the Road Commission. I got a number of different calls during the first snow. That team was amazing. They did a great job.
Good to hear. All right.
I have nothing.
Oh, okay. All right, well, I think that...
Did we get Kevin?
Oh, no, yeah, I haven't gone to this. Sorry, that's right. Sorry.
It's all right.
We're getting such good information. This is great. Keep it going.
Well, in follow-up to Skip's comment about urban sprawl, 20, 30 years ago, back when I was on the board then,
we were somewhat accused of urban sprawl back then. So we intentionally slowed things down, but now we're accused of not growing fast enough. So growth in Holland Township is again off the charts as it was in 23. And to accommodate that, I just want to refer to a board meeting of last week that we had last Thursday, as a matter of fact. We approved perhaps one of the largest projects that we've ever approved, is a $23 million sewer capacity expansion to our pump station number 31, which is basically mostly commercial, but also there's some residential impacted by that as well. And that'll impact about 3 miles of sewer line and pumps. Part of that will be actually under the water, the swampland east of the bridge. So yeah, that's a tremendous project. We're funding that from a $20 million grant from the MEDC, and the rest we'll be responsible for. But a huge project to accommodate, again, growth. The other thing I want to talk about just briefly is our rec center. Many people are watching that. We had back in November what we would call a kickoff. It wasn't a groundbreaking because basically we started demolition shortly after that. And so the demolition people have been at it for about a month to totally clear out the former Yonkers space. And if you look at that today, it is pretty much cleared out. And now the newer trades are starting to enter the building and start the progress of growing the facility. So we're pretty excited about that as well. It'll take about 1.5 years to completely finish that project, but again, tremendous reuse of an existing facility. And if you go through that area, obviously, there's all kinds of growth going on through there. Not to mention today is the opening of Olive Garden. So,
Hey Terry, what's going on next to Hobby Lobby? Is the GDK has developed?
That's OSID, or the county building is putting that up.
Oh, they are.
Yeah. That's they're going to run a new program out of that facility, which again is a building that was almost totally empty for years. And again, a great reuse of a building. That's pretty much my story today.
Are you buying dinner tonight? No.
Sure. I'm not going near that place for a while.
Seasoned experience next to me here. Speaking of repurposing, the Allen County has started the reconstruction of our courthouse. First with moving, not taking down, a Union soldier statue from one part of our courthouse square to another to accommodate an addition. And at the same time, we are also demolishing the interior of our county services building, which is on our Dumont Lake campus, which will accommodate our treasurer, clerk, register, and drain commission offices. So of course, the impetus for doing this was the addition of a Third Circuit Court judge to be elected this fall, and who will take office this time next year. Both construction projects come in at a total of about $10 million, and I think it's an interesting number to look at, the per square foot cost, because on one part we're making an addition, so that's new construction. That's about $525 a square foot. Repurposing both the other portions of our courthouse and our county services building comes in about $76 a square foot. So there's a lot of economic sense, in addition to not wasting taxpayer funds to repurposing buildings. And frankly, it continues what I like to say is the Allegheny County tradition of doing that. We did it first with our jail and sheriff's office. Our mental health agency did it also with the big box store, and kind of this was the third high visibility project that we're doing that on. But in terms of new construction, our contractor for installing fiber optic cable, same one that we contracted with before Ottawa did, 123net, has laid about 12% of 1,000 miles of new fiber optic cable in our county to kind of make it available to most of our county residents that don't have it, which is about 36% of our population.
We have one customer installed, but it's an open access cable, so other providers can use it, of course paying whatever toll road that it goes for. And it's a three-part funding. We used our ARPA funds, we used 123net contributed equal amount, and then the state through their Robin federal program also contributed about $28 million for a total basic project cost of about $65 million. The other big project we have this year is to get a handle on the status of our aquifer, various aquifers in the county. Most of our municipal water systems draw from wells, and we've had some experience in the southern part of the county with some contamination, PFAS contamination, which was discussed earlier, from long gone paper plants. So we'll be getting an interim report this Thursday on how that's going. The abundance of white stuff has contributed to a resurgence of our snowmobile recreation. Saw them a lot this weekend, and brings into focus another upcoming meeting we are going to have with the Department of Natural Resources about the use of a state game area, which is the largest single piece of property in our county, for some snowmobile trails, kind of enhancing our year-round recreation opportunity for our county. And then finally, I just wanted to report, last week I was in Washington under the auspices of the Michigan Association of Counties, and had the opportunity to hear from three very senior members of the administration, all of whom said, we still have infrastructure money available for you counties and other localities who want it. Now the question is how we get our hands on it. They professed a willingness to work directly with local units of government. Still trying to find some money for John's Road Commission for the restoration of our Lakeshore Drive in South Saugatuck Township, and was able to present some information that Jason helped on with Craig Wetwood, our director, to some people. Still working on it. Hopefully someday I'll be able to report we got it. So thank you.
All right, fantastic. Well, looks like we're 5 minutes over.
Actually, I got one last thing.
Okay,
I'm
good.
sorry, is that okay?
No, please.
Sorry. Thank you all for letting me come here. This has been very interesting. I have a couple things. I'm a third generation blueberry farmer. I own land in Park Township, Port Sheldon, and Grand Haven. I have a love-hate relationship with farming. I grew up with it. I still want to be a farmer most days. We do have a housing problem, we do have a land problem, but we have a big agriculture problem because there's a lot of farms that are on life support. And I'm going to tell you right now, we need to grow our food here. We need to keep agriculture as long as we can, but I know a lot of farms that are going out of business just because they can't make it anymore. So if a farm goes out of business, I can in good conscience tell them, no, we have to keep that egg because that's what it is. I know a farmer just died away last year. His wife, she doesn't farm. I can't go to her and say, I'm sorry, I can't vote to change your land into producing housing, or that was your retirement, I apologize. So we are in a unique position. We have a lot of agriculture land. We want to keep it as much as possible, but we really need to help our farmers and our ag out there to try to, and honestly, I don't know the answer, to be honest with you. I'm still farming some stuff that my grandparents planted in the 50s. And my son wants to farm, and that's great, but I said, why don't you get another job first, just in case. I can teach him farming, but he can fall back on something else. If you guys figure it out, please let me know. But really, we deal with it at our township a lot. We deal with a lot of ag issues and ag problems and ag solutions, really. It's that what we need to kind of work at it. But I do appreciate you guys talking about it, and I know it's a big concern in all of these townships and this county. So we're here. We want to work with everybody, especially the farmers. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions or anything. Definitely be open to discussing.
Do you know about the farmland preservation program through the county?
I do, is where they buy the development rights, is that what you were talking about?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
I've
We
got
can
a
talk
lot of,
about
I've
that.
got a lot of information, Luke, unfortunately I have to run to another
That's
meeting,
okay.
but I will send information.
No,
And then
I
maybe
know.
we can meet.
Yep, no problem. Yep.
I want to just add, that $20 million grant was given to us with the help of Lakeshore Advantage. Is one of the many people that did assist us in that, so thank you.
All right, so looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved to support? All right, all in favor? Aye. There we go, thank you. All right, that's fun.
Yeah.
Sorry I was in a rush to almost miss you, but you're doing a lot there.